and from Jesus Christ our Lord be with you all.
And also with you.
You know, as I was reading this very long passage, I can't help but think about our youth who spend the night here and probably a little tired, probably haven't slept much, and if I were you, I might have already dozing off. So I try not to be too long-winded this morning. I tried, you know how that's successful. So peace and grace from God our Father and from Jesus Christ our Lord be with you all.
And also with you.
Did I just say that again?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was here last night. I didn't even know it. A story that I might have shared in this gathering, but a story that I have used many times in our sermon, and something that actually happened to me. December 1st, 1990, the night I was ordained, I was in Pasadena, California, in the Kinko's stores. Are there any Kinko's anymore? Still rest, maybe. To making bulletins for my own ordination. So as I was making bulletins, a man was right next to me, and he saw what I was doing and said, "Wow, church bulletins, and hey, you know, I'm a Christian too." And then we started having a conversation, and very soon I realized he's from definitely from the evangelical tradition. So as we're talking, and I get more and more uncomfortable, and so, you know, he starts, you know, quoting the scriptures, and you know, in a very sincere way. I really am not, you know, criticizing my brother in Christ at that moment in time. And then when the last question he popped was, well, I told him I was going to be ordained the next day, but he said, "Are you born again? Are you born again?" I did not know how to answer. So I don't know what I muttered, but then, you know, soon, you know, we stopped the conversation. I tried to make those copies as quickly as possible and worked out a Kinko. Through the years, I reflected on this incident a lot. I think many of us might have good friends and relatives who are very, you know, very involved in the evangelical tradition, and you know, we might have been asked that question from time to time, haven't we? Are you born again? Have you been born again? You know, through the years, I tried to reflect, why was I so uncomfortable on that night? Well, the first thing was obvious. I don't always understand fully, that's my fault, the sisters and brothers in the evangelical tradition. I own it, that's my fault. The other thing is, I think I know a thing or two about a born-again tradition. I went to a Southern Baptist school for 6 years in Hong Kong, so I've seen the testimonies, and I was always amazed by the stories, by those born-again stories, and as I looked at my own lives, I could not find any. But the third thing that I always been troubled was, I feel, that's the way I feel, that may not be the way it is, I feel that born again, the whole concept of born again has become a criteria, or the criteria to measure, speaking about measurement, to measure whether or not we are Christians. So I reflect upon that a lot. And I think every time I preach on this text, the 3rd chapter of John, I try to find new insight from the passage to help me understand the whole concept of born again. Now, there's the three verses I would like to highlight. But I want to read it, first of all, from the King James Version, not the version that we read from. And that might help us understand where, in some ways, where the born again, as we know it, the concept came from. The three verses, the first verse is verse 3 of chapter 3. It says, "Jesus answered and said unto him," unto Nicodemus that is, "Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." Some of us grew up from King James. Does that sound a little bit familiar? Then the second part, verse 5, Jesus said, "Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God." And then verse 7, it says, "Marvel not, or do not marvel, that I said unto thee, ye must be born again. If you string these three verses together, at least for me, what it says to me is, I must be born again. Otherwise, I cannot see the kingdom of God. I cannot enter into the kingdom of God. Is that a fair statement? After reading these three verses from the King James? King James is a wonderful version. I'm not criticizing King James. This is one of the most eloquent translations from the Greek, from the scriptures. However, if we just read King James alone and without going back into the Greek origin and using other references, maybe we miss the richness of some of the things that is in the gospel. Well, several points I want to make. Well, first of all, the concept of kingdom of God. I'm not going to get into a very lengthy discussions here. I know our youth are falling asleep now. But the kingdom of God, sometimes when we think about the kingdom of God, sometimes our first connection is the place we go after we die. Throughout the gospel, and particularly in the Gospel of John, that is not the case. And I think I've talked about it many times in sermon. When we talk about the kingdom of God, it's really the realm of God, the reign of God, the power, the reality of God. That reality, that power, that reign does not only exist at the place, or whatever that place is, after we die, but that reality is already here. It exists. And in fact, if you read John, every time, well, there's only 2 times, as I understand throughout the book of John, every time this concept comes up, is usually mentioned in the present tense. Meaning that we are entering into God's kingdom now, into that reality now. We are able to see God's reality now. So that's point number 1. It's very important. But then the question is, how can we see? How can we see God's reality and not just human realities? How can we enter into God's reality of realities, and not just human reality? As we read from these 3 verses, the idea is we must be born again. 2 simple words, right? May not be that simple. First of all, the word again. The word again. In Greek, could means either from above or again. Can you now see the difference? And so, in fact, I also like to read from you a literal translation. It's called the Young's Literal Translation. Not a translation that we normally use on Sundays, but it's actually a translation that was done in the late 1800s. So it actually tries to preserve the original meaning of Greek. So let me read from that. It says, verse 3, Jesus said, "Verily, verily, I say to thee, if anyone who may not be born from above," did you hear born again? He is not able to see the reign of God. So it's not born again as we think, but it's born from above. And then, verse 5, same thing. If anyone may not be born of water and spirit, he is not able to enter the reign of God. And so it's born from above. And in fact, as we read the scriptures, we know that Nicodemus actually misunderstood Jesus' words. Jesus means being born from above and not again. But the Nicodemus says, well, how can I, now that I'm old, or how can anyone who has become old to go back to mother's womb and be born again? So Nicodemus misunderstood Jesus' saying. Jesus means in order to see, in order to enter into God's reign, to have understanding of the wonderful world of God, we need to be born from above. From above. Not again. So point number 2. Let's go to point number 3. The concept about herself? Has anyone ever been born by herself or himself? I have the privilege to watch my 2 children being born. It was one of the scariest experiences I ever had as father. And I have even more respect for mothers. You have to carry the child for how many months? Seems like eternity, wasn't it? When you carry him or her. But throughout that process, as I'm reflecting on it, one thing that I really, really understand is born is never something that we could engineer. No one could engineer our own birth. And born is always something that somebody has done for us. And in fact, if you look at the verb born in Greek, every time when the word born comes up, it's in passive voice. Passive voice. What does that mean? It doesn't mean that I will born again. I will born again myself. No. I will be given birth. I will be given birth from above. I will be given birth. Even if he wants to use the word again, I will be given birth again. It's not something that we do. It's something that somebody else does. It's something that God does. So the question becomes, how can we be born again? And that was exactly Nicodemus' question. Nicodemus was saying, well, how could that be? I'm already old. I cannot climb into the mother's womb. And Jesus, explained some more. And Nicodemus said, how can all these things happen? And then Jesus kept on and on and on and on and explained other things. And one of the things that Jesus says was, well, just like wind. Remember the kind of famous imagery from this text? When wind blows, how does it work? Can we see wind blows? We cannot see wind blows. Wind was blowing pretty hard the last month or so, wasn't it? Even the nice days yesterday. The wind was blowing, but I could not see the wind, but I could see the effect of wind, isn't it? I could see leaves falling, well, not quite yet, but I could see branches swinging. I could feel the cold and all those things. And so what Jesus was saying is, there's nothing you can do because it's from above. It's from the Spirit. God is something that God causes and God moves. And when God moves, you cannot see how God moves things, but you will see the result. So what Jesus is telling Nicodemus is, there's nothing you can do. Being born again is not your doing. It's something that God does. In fact, what Jesus is trying to do is not making born again as a criteria to measure whether or not we are Christians. But Jesus was proclaiming the wonderfulness of born again as a phenomenon, as a gift. Being born again, being given birth to, it's a gift from God. It's not something that we can do. What are we going to do? Are we going to do nothing? Well, I was in New Orleans this past week for a meeting. That was not excuse anyway, but some of us have been in New Orleans, and well, I've never been there during Mardi Gras, but the last several times I've been there, I did go to some of those fun places, if you will, in New Orleans. I remember going to listen to jazz, one of the streets, one of the New Orleans streets. That was a couple of years ago. Late at night, I walked to I cannot even remember the streets now, but that area, some of you have been there, you might remember, and if you have not been there, please go. I don't work for New Orleans tourism agency, but it's a remarkable experience. I remember walking down the streets and just everywhere you could hear jazz music, and you know how I'm not a jazz devotee. I'm not. But when I hear jazz, one thing I can't help doing is I cannot help not moving. I have to move. So I was walking down the streets and I heard those music and watched the musicians and just picking up whatever instruments they have, the trumpets and drums and whatnot, and they were moved by the Spirit. They really were. And somehow when those music comes, and I can't help it. my body moves. Even for a reserved Chinese guy like me, my body moves. And I think all of us are kind of like that, right? I mean, I'm not a music expert, but we all love music. When good music comes to us, when music has given birth to our lives and given us life in those moments in time, we cannot help but move and respond in ways that is appropriate. And that's what we are supposed to do when we hear God's good news. When we hear God's good news of God has given us new life, that is to move and to say something remarkable. One of the hymns that I love is, I have decided to, anyone know that song? Follow Jesus. Anyone know that song? It's not a Lutheran hymn, it's more the evangelical hymns. But that's what I feel like when I hear God's music and when I hear God's good words from Marianne. The love that cannot be measured. I move with faith. I move by wanting to follow Jesus. And so today, if the same man asked me the questions, are you born again? Are you born again? I still don't know what I would say to him, but the things that I might say is, yes, I've been born from above. Or I have been given birth from above. And in fact, I might even say, not only that I have been born again once, I've been born again, and again, and again, because God's giving birth to me happens again, and again. Sometimes not in big things, sometimes in very small things. But when it happens, I know it. I cannot help but respond. So people of God, the good news for us today is not so much that you must be born again, but that Jesus was telling us that God has given birth to us from above again and again and again. And with that, we could say, Hallelujah. Jesus